Surface Wave Podcast, episode number 26. Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Craze.
It's me over here, Laws Balls.
We got Nate on the Nate cam. Say what's up, bro.
What's up? How's it going?
And it is our pleasure to be joined today by DJ Winkle.
Thank you.
What's up, man?
Just hanging out on a nice Friday, but humbled to be here with you fellas. Talk about some hip-hop music. I think that's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Winkle came. He has his merch on. What is that?
Radio Boise.
89.9?
93.5.
93.5 FM.
Both frequencies and radioboise.org.
Let's go.
Yep, celebrating.
That's awesome,
Yeah,
man.
Celebrating 10 years on air in just a couple of weeks.
Damn, that's fire, bro.
Has it always been the same frequency?
It was 89.9 for a while. It was actually internet radio before then. Internet only for about 2 years, and then terrestrial radio, as they call it. And then with pledges and support, we were able to get to second frequency. And it's been going for 10 years. I've been
awesome.
On air for about 8, coming up on 9.
Love it.
And I
Dang.
think the show we're going to talk about, Crush Corner, that's been on since February 26th, 2017.
And I just want to personally say shout out to you because you played probably one of my first singles like 2 years ago, Dirty. And I remember the feeling that it gave me just waiting, because your show's at 10 o'clock, right, on Sundays?
Yeah, 10 o'clock to 11 Sunday nights on Radio Boise.
And I remember you reached out and you were like, hey, we're playing this, if you can send me a clean version. And I was like, what do you mean you're playing it? And then I looked you guys up and I was like, man, this is awesome. And then I remember just sitting there, just waiting, listening to all the music, and then boom. I was like, it just was a surreal moment, honestly.
Yeah, I say that the main reason, the motivation for doing this is that exact feeling that you have, and have artists be able to feel like they can participate in their community, that all of I know how much hard work you guys put into the music, and that people can hear it. That's the main reason I do the show. And then just the people you get to meet, the different styles you get to hear.
Yeah.
And
did you have to get clearance for that? Just to like from your bosses?
Yeah. So there's a program director. His name is Wayne Burt, and anybody can put in a show proposal. That's through the website, Radio Boise. The biggest thing is consistency, and that you're actually going to show up.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think a lot of people have the hot idea of like, oh, I'd love to be a DJ, man. That sounds sweet. And it's like, okay, can you commit to this every week? 6 hours or as long as it takes you
to run the show.
No excuses, and you're going to be there and you're going to bring good content. Can you actually commit to that? And that kind of weeds some people out.
Yeah.
Right.
But there was a hip-hop show on before me, my show Bangers and Mashups. There was one from...
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, that's the show right afterwards. But there was a show from 9 to 11 called Crush Groove 208, and it was one of my homeboys. He had obligations like fighting fires, so he had to leave. And then we have our Radioathon. We have one coming up, but that's our twice annual fundraiser. And I was like, wouldn't that be cool to just do an hour of nothing but Idaho hip hop? And so I was like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
It worked out well. And then I propositioned the director. I was like, how about you give me this show, this slot right before mine, and do nothing but Idaho hip hop?
That's awesome, man.
Well, it was good, but it turned out to be a bigger challenge than I thought.
Why do you say that?
Initially, just because I'm not a rapper.
Yeah.
And connecting, finding people, finding their networks, finding who raps with who, finding stuff that can be played on the radio, and stuff that's just real, that's authentic.
Okay, so any local artists watching this or listening to this, what are the like requirements? Does quality matter?
Definitely. I mean, like grime, there's nothing wrong with that. So like if it's not the cleanest, I mean, obviously you want to have like 320 quality. Yeah. You don't want things clipping. Yeah. But if there's a little bit of grime, or your samples aren't just like crystal club music, that's fine. Yeah. But I'd say being authentic, being real on who you are, and getting out of the classic cliches, man. You don't know how many rap songs I've heard where it's about guns and bitches and drugs and how much money you got and how much weed you got.
What's kind of funny about it is we all live in the same area, so it's just like there's not that much gang violence. There's not that much. I know you're not rolling in no Mercedes Benz.
Yeah, like if you're trafficking keys and you do that for a living, whatever. One, I don't know why you'd ever want to advertise that you're doing that.
Right.
Man.
And two, like, just be authentic.
Yeah.
Like the stuff where people are talking about heartbreak or what they've had to overcome in their lives, or just a fun song to just cruise around and just enjoy yourself too. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of music that gets my ear.
So I kind of want to bring it back when you said it takes a certain type of person to be a radio DJ.
Sure.
So you've been doing this for 9 years, going on 10?
Going on 10, yeah.
Woo. So did you ever have a moment where you're just like, this isn't for me?
Well, it actually all came out of a depression. Like I was super depressed for like a whole year, didn't know what to do with my life. And music was one of the things that got me out of that depression. It allowed me to kind of feel again. So just kind of searching and collecting music and finding stuff that makes me feel. And then I DJ'd, my first gig ever was my 10-year high school reunion.
Fire.
And I did it mostly because I was so embarrassed with who I was. I didn't want to talk to anybody. But
look at me now.
Yeah, be like, you guys all talk about how successful you are. I'll be over here where you can't reach me playing music.
The life of the party, really, though.
Right. Make things happen for people. Get them to feel. And then from there, I put in for a show at Radio Boise. I almost got the reggae show, but I didn't show up. And then I came up with a concept for bangers and mashups. And then, like I said, with Crush. But yeah, I mean, there's weeks you don't want to do it. Yeah. There's weeks where you're just like, I really don't want to. But it's fun, man. And it's a privilege. It's a privilege and it's an honor to be able to showcase music that you're not going to hear on other stations.
That's amazing, your journey into becoming a DJ, right? Like just from wanting to feel something for yourself and then just projecting that for everybody else. Yeah. That's so cool, dude.
Yeah, like one of the best analogies I heard that like a good DJ is like an energy shaman. So like what you're doing is you're setting the vibe and allowing people to drop their walls and feel things and have a good time and get loose. Or maybe you can just take them on a journey, you know? Yeah. And it's fun to do that each week. You look for songs that are similar BPM, similar key, similar tempo, and then just start weaving a story for people. Things that like talk on similar topics.
So really, it's like a lot more work than people think, right? Because everyone's like, I have a fire playlist, but it's not really, to be a good DJ, it's way more than that.
Yeah, you could find Spotify tracks from all the best Spotify track playlist makers and cherry pick them and put them into your computer and hook it up to a PA and let it roll, and people will probably have fun. Yeah. But you're taking their tradition and the curation out of it. Like DJing's, been around for a long time, like kind of weaved itself in with hip hop and kind of paying homage, doing your work.
Right. Hell yeah.
But it has, I think, a lot of similarities to hip hop. Like when I first started DJing, everybody was my competition. Like if I saw somebody who had a gig, that should have been my gig, man. And like, you get in their face about it, you're upset. And then, you'll hear this from hip hop artists too. You get over that. You realize it's a community, and like we come up together, we get better together, we can throw shows together. Just because somebody's, doing what you do doesn't mean they're your enemy.
Right, exactly.
Definitely.
I feel like it furthers the movement so much farther when you're together and
definitely
have the same common goal, as opposed to like stepping on each other to get where you want to be.
Yeah, I've seen a lot more of that in my years listening to and playing music from Idaho, hip hop from Idaho, is that it's gotten a lot less combative. People are doing a lot more features together. People are willing to help each other out. Some of the old cats who have been doing it for longer will help school the new ones and show them what works. So that's really refreshing to see. And I know nobody's really blown up out of Idaho, like on a national level.
Right.
I think it's going to happen. And there's definitely, as I say, we're all going to come up together. And we'll see. But
for sure,
with this new pandemic and touring being more difficult and the internet, I don't think it's going to be the way we imagine it has in the past.
Right.
So speaking of like the pandemic and stuff, did you guys have to like transition to a remote, like uploading your guys' audio tracks and stuff, or is it still in studio?
A lot of DJs did. I've been working through the entire pandemic.
Yeah, that's good.
I manage a liquor store. That's my full-time job.
Gotcha.
But I was working all the ways through that, and I was just like, look, I'm just gonna come in booth. So we had restrictions, like usually Radio Boise is totally open. People can come visit whenever. Yeah. You can see how it works. We shut that off. And then live performances have been tough. On Crush, we try to at least every 2 weeks have some type of interview or live performance.
That's dope.
That's sick.
And that's been a little more difficult, but we're figuring out new ways now.
That's good, man. That's awesome.
I'm glad you've stayed busy, honestly. It's good, man.
Never worked harder my whole life than during this pandemic, to be honest with you.
I feel like it really tested people's characters, because a lot of mainstream artists, that is a good chunk of their revenue is touring, and they had to innovate and they had to think of different ways to reinvent themselves, essentially. And it was honestly, I kind of felt like as an artist, it leveled out the playing field a little bit, because everyone was back to square one. So I just feel like when we had that downtime, we were able to create this podcast and create new elements of media, basically, since we don't have tours, we don't have any interaction with the fans. And the reason why I wanted to have you on this podcast is because we kind of I think it's dope that you're using your platform for artists and trying to bring artists together. And that's honestly what we're trying to do in the long run, is inspire and just motivate and bring like-minded people on. And it's cool because you see music from a different perspective. I think it's awesome that we can share that interest, and you can see how, what'd you say, something about a shaman?
An energy shaman.
Yeah. And being a DJ, even creating a show disc as an artist, you want to have songs that complement the other. You don't want to put a sad song right in after a hype song and it just dies or kills the energy.
Sure.
So I think it's dope that we can see it from different perspectives, but in the same way.
Well, it was nice too. I had, the first thing I wanted to talk about, you said a lot of really good things, was I think gratitude is really important in life. And then, I don't know if you ever looked into the philosophy of Stoicism. It's pretty cool. So it's just the idea of what would you do if everything was taken away from you? Everything that you love, that is just gone.
Okay.
What are you going to do? Are you just going to lay down and die? Or are you going to figure it out? And then the other part of that is there's things that are within your control and there's things that are not within your control. And so figuring that out, really focusing on what's in your control and what's not. And the stuff that's not in your control, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. And then also you're responsible for your emotions. You can't control what other people do, but you can control how you respond.
Right.
So the reason I just bring that up.
That's crazy.
The reason I bring that up is because that gratitude, if something's taken away, like touring or you're used to doing shows or whatever, once that's gone, I think a lot of people, might have taken that for granted and being
for sure,
that's something I really miss. But I like your idea too of you got to get creative and reinvent it. Yeah. You got to do something different.
It's all about perspective. It's the world's against me or it's testing me. So I feel you can either look down on it or you can be I'm going to start doing this, or I'm going to do virtual shows, or I'm going to do, I don't know, whatever it is that
start uploading YouTube videos, my freestyles and vlogging, this and that. Yeah, exactly.
I've seen a lot of beat challenges. I've seen a lot of duets on TikTok.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, man.
Collaboration's great. Yeah. That's really great. And, it was interesting. So I say again, I'm not a rapper, but it's been nice. I had Andyo from the Earthlings Crew. I don't know if you know who the Earthlings are.
Are they local?
Yeah, they're local. They've been around for a while.
Hip hop?
Hip hop. It's Clev Speech, Andyo, Axiom the Wise, ATG, and Zero. Zero's pretty famous.
Zero, yeah.
But yeah, they had a collective called Earthlings Entertainment.
Shout out.
And he's great. He co-hosted with me for about 2 years.
Oh, that's fire.
And it was good to be able to have the perspective of a rapper.
Yeah.
And we disagree on a lot of stuff. I'll be this is great for a listener. And he's dude, this is so cheese. This is whack. And because he knows the side of creating the music.
So is he more hip hop?
He is. No, yeah, he's legit hip hop.
Yeah.
Earthlings, I first met him in 2014. We were on the same Tree Fort lineup. I got a band called Giggle Bomb, which is
nice.
Mashups, which I have with live drummers and live musicians.
Oh, that's tough.
I DJ with multiple songs playing at the same time, and then drummers who haven't practiced it just going crazy.
That sounds sick.
So I've been doing that for about 6 years, and that was the first Tree Fort where I met him. And some of those rappers, the local cats, I don't know if you've heard of Clev Speech, but you got to check out his stuff.
For sure.
He's just got an awesome tone and flow. And Dedicated Servers, huge shout out to them. They're my homeboys. They're super talented. The Alumni Crew, I don't know if you heard of those guys. They're super good.
Have to check them all out, man.
Mock M's one. So I could go on, but those were kind of the local cats.
It's insane to see or to think the rap scene or the music scene is so huge. I only know what's in my circle, but to have Vito on and Brother Kiki and just like tap into these other markets of artists is just like, holy crap, bro. Like I heard of Zero and I heard of Axiom.
There's a lot out there. There's a lot out there, and there's a lot of different styles. Like it's not just all boom bap. You'll see more like that cloud and the trap, and then kind of like the free verse style. So there's just a lot of variations out there. There's a lot of femcs that are making music that I'm really excited about, like Madison Proof, Janelle, Lyrical Lachey.
I've heard of them.
Skilly Waves has been really helping a lot of people out too with starting to get
T-Baby.
Yeah,
I heard her on your show too.
Yeah, she's really good. I heard she just got her own studio too. So
shout out to that. That's
she's
fire.
Hungry.
Well, it's great.
She's hungry.
Like we were talking about, when you have somebody like Skilly who's been doing this for a little while, and then he can kind of mentor somebody, and then they get excited, and then the music just gets better.
It's dope, honestly, to see the growth of all these artists. I've been making music for 10 years, so I've seen the transition from just artists who come and go. I've seen artists reinvent themselves. I've seen artists go the managerial side. So I think it's only a matter of time before one artist. There's this artist named Curtis Hoppy who's a Christian rapper, but he signed a deal with Empire Records.
Oh, nice.
So he actually has some label backing, and his song is on Spotify playlists, and it's just amazing to see, like, we're making noise. Yeah, we're making a lot of noise.
The Christian rappers are very impressive, like Psalm. And
shout out Psalm.
Yeah, there's somebody else who I was thinking of too who's been collaborating with. I can't remember now.
Psalm, shout out Ray G, Vito OT, Brother
Vito
Kiki.
OT. Yep.
They've been I think they're going on tour on the beginning of April or May. They're going on a tour. I think it's like 14 days.
Damn, those boys been working hard too, bro.
Misfits
pushing
Army.
content like crazy.
Shout out to Misfits Army.
Oh
too.
yeah, Vito's been releasing like a fire track every week. I think he's probably going to be doing a performance with Radio Boise sometime soon. But
that's awesome, man.
One of the best parts of Christian rap music too is I know I don't have to edit it.
Right?
That's what I love.
Just makes your job so easy.
I was like, oh man, I just know that a Vito song is going to be clean.
That leads me to a question. Was there any songs that you had to turn down because it just wasn't playable?
Right. Yeah. See, that happens, and I know people get really excited. They're like, hey, are you going to play this song? Are you going to play this song? If you curse more than once or twice in your hook, like, man, like it's really not even worth me playing.
Can't say it.
Because like I'm just going to have to edit it 15, 20 times. Yeah. And it just cuts the whole heart out of the track.
For sure.
So, and what I would like to see, my challenge, if any local artists watch this, is make radio edits.
Yeah.
You know why? Because like if you want to get distribution, if you want to get to other radio stations, if you want to be taken seriously, you have to have clean music. Yeah. Like I understand on the radio you can get 20,000 Spotify listens or SoundCloud clicks, and people get those in different ways. But like if you're legit, like have clean music. It's just professional.
Yeah, that's smart. It. A lot of artists, they have the explicit version and the edited version posted at the same time.
It's smart. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's just my piece of advice. But no, there's some I like. I was looking at your Surface Wave website. Is Andrew 00? Is that the same person? Man, that song "Tell Me," man, that's one that I play a lot. Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, I have Wave Cartel Media has artists, beat producers, the podcast, video editors. We're just this big collective of just creatives, and then I'm an artist. Andrew's an artist. Shout out Archie. Shout out Brother Kiki. Tony Spitz. Santos, Nikki, and then Santos is Hooligan. Hooligan makes beats for all of us.
Oh, okay.
So we all are just this big machine of like
content.
I have this song, we have an engineer, and then we have a beat producer for that beat. So we own 100% of everything.
Oh, so that's sweet.
Yeah. So
you don't have to rip beats.
Yeah, definitely. And then me and Nate are video editors, so we literally were filming a music video right before this.
Oh, cool.
With the drone and stuff. And honestly, we work in numbers, and it just helps out with so much, man.
Well, sure. Cross training people on that, taking people's different strengths and using them together. And that's great. And especially if you're ever going to do a performance, if you guys can all collaborate together and just be like, here's a block we can do.
One big super show.
Yeah. And then like all you guys can interchange and trade verses. That's dope. No, and I think that's more of those popping up is awesome, especially with like the ability to do this at home. You don't have to like rent recording time. This equipment's expensive.
Yeah.
But
But that's the thing is like the no middleman perspective is just like if I have an idea and I have all these other guys who can back that idea, like I don't know, it just helps out so much more. And having to put like to have all these people to put the ego aside and just believe in one thing, we create just such beautiful content, man. And it took a lot of years, a lot of people coming in and out of the group, a lot of just bumping heads and stuff. But like after we weeded out all the loose ends, you can say, like we just, I don't know, man, it's just such a beautiful thing. Like me and Nate were editing a video and I would spend 15 minutes. I'd stand up and then he'd sit down and clean it up and add a different thing. And then we just swap out for hours. I've never created anything like that ever. Yeah. And it's just, I'm excited for that.
That's just the most beautiful thing about being able to like function as a fully functional team where you could just tag someone in, boom, 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 and then tag back out and just move. That pushes the ball further so much faster. I
don't think I was going to promote this, but new single coming out on Friday. My single Won't Be It. Music video shot and edited by me and Nate.
Let's go.
So, yeah. I want a copy of that.
I got you, man. I'll send you a clean copy.
Thank you. No, I think that's true. And like I've talked to a lot of rappers. I think it's interesting when they say, I got this new project. He's like, yeah, man, but I'm just waiting on one person to finish their verse. And I'm just waiting on this. So like if you can raise your standards and your accountability where like everybody's on that tier where they don't want to let anybody down.
Yeah.
I think that's a great work ethic as well.
That's why a lot of the bumping heads come into play where it's just like, I need that email. Where's that email?
Yeah.
I treat everything like it's a legitimate business. I mean, we're manifesting it essentially. But if like your job, you're not going to show up late. I mean, it's a paycheck. I mean, 100%. I treat this like that. So it's just like we're on time, we're punctual. And it's just it's awesome, man. Just
no, that's good. It's professional. Yeah. And if any aspiring rappers are watching or listening to this, I think that's important too. Like if you want to go to a studio, I've talked to so many engineers, and they've just been like, if you're gonna record, like be ready.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
definitely.
Sure. I've heard stories of like engineers are like people roll up and be like, okay, what do you think I should record? And the guy's like, are you kidding me?
I'm like, not the rapper.
No, you gotta know. You gotta be ready to go. Yeah. You have to be prepared. You know, I think professionalism is important.
I think that's one thing about like, because I'm not a rapper myself, but like being a part of the company, like that's one thing that's like beautiful to see. It's because like Craze can control the culture of everybody that's coming through in here because like I expect this and I'm holding you to this.
Yeah.
So, and that's how we're gonna get to be, and then we're gonna get to see from there. So like. It's just cool to be a part of that and then to see like the inner workings because I know how I've heard the same horror stories of unprofessional artists and things of that nature. So like it's just like Wave Cartel is just functioning like differently than most entities of music.
I've had an artist book out a 2-hour block and then an hour in he was re-recording the same verse within an hour in.
Oh man!
And his buddy was supposed to do a feature on it, and his buddy had like 20 minutes to lay his verse down. So just touching back on just be ready.
Well, I don't mean to like trash on anybody.
No,
and I think a lot of it is maybe lack of mentoring and overconfidence.
Yeah.
Right. So like you don't know what you don't know until you find out, right? Mm-hmm. So like if you're like, oh yeah, I can do studio time. Like I got the confidence. I think I have the verses. I can do this. Mm-hmm. And you get in, you get part of the system, and you're like, wait, I don't know any of this.
Yeah.
So like back to mentoring, right? Everybody, if you have a good mentor, if somebody's doing something that you think's awesome, like try to learn from them.
Definitely.
Always tap in.
That's why it's dope that the artists who've been in the game for a while are now taking younger artists under their wing, and I think that's so dope. Like, yeah. Just to see kind of the next chapter of Idaho hip hop.
Oh yeah, no, like the walls are dropping and people are willing to, work with other people. It's not like, you're stealing from somebody else.
Right.
And I know people are paying legitimate for beats and for time, like it's kind of like when you do a DJ gig and someone's like, hey, will you come DJ for free? Or like any of this. It's like
for promo.
You're just disrespecting the industry.
Definitely.
If that kind of stuff happens. So like people's time, people's equipment, it's worth money, and if you're willing to pay that and learn and work for it, then you'll get a good product.
100%.
You also appreciate the value of it more when it's your money that you're spending,
right?
So to have a lot of like the homie hookups, they kind of just take it for granted until you realize like time is money. So I feel like that also helped too with my circle is they realize like I just got off work, I got to go back to work in like 8 hours. This is our time slot, so it's just boom, boom, boom. That drive and motivation is just
Yeah, you don't want to devalue yourself for anybody.
Have you ever had people ask you to DJ for free?
Yeah.
Out of love, out of a shout outs on their story?
No,
not that.
For Trident Layers.
Yeah. I mean, I just think some people don't really know. And like, I don't know, I got some weddings that people are asking me for that are from like referrals. I don't really put myself out there for them. Mm-hmm. And they just kind of come in and like, yeah, I'll do it for the right person. But like, that's not totally my focus.
I was surprised to see how much DJs charge for weddings. Because my buddy VJ, he just left Wild 101. My sister-in-law was getting married and she's like, hey, would you reach out to VJ? And I was like, yeah, for sure. VJ's like, I won't do it for, I'll do it for a good amount, but they think the people booking think it's just as easy as plugging in a computer and hitting play.
Right.
It's like, this is my budget. Like, it's like a couple $100 and I'm just like, it's just crazy, man.
The industry standard should be $100 an hour for DJs playing out. Bars sometimes are a little bit different because they have the equipment and stuff, but that's kind of the standard. No, that's good. I mean, my passion's lying other places too. I'm a volunteer on the Idaho Suicide Prevention Hotline. I've been a phone responder with them for going on like 4 years.
That's amazing.
So like that kind of stuff, and then doing other stuff with Radio Boise. I do a little production with them.
Nice.
Then working 40 hours a week, having 2 radio shows.
Grinded, man.
So I stay busy, but no, and I just kind of stopped chasing dollars. And I think that's the lesson everyone's going to learn eventually is like, definitely. Your passion's in it, your heart's in it. You make music for you, for the people, for any reason. But if you're making music just for money, like, I'm sorry, it's probably not going to happen.
The minute that you take the money out of it and you're just making it for the craft, that's when the money comes in. And I noticed that being in the game for 10 years, man, is just chasing it for attention and fame and money. Like, that's all momentary. So it's just for the moment, and it's not going to last. So if you take that's your desire, you're never going to fully be successful.
Oh, totally.
And I've seen it firsthand.
That kind of like goes back to like the type of music that I consider for radio play.
Definitely.
Like if it's just about how much money and stacks you're gonna get, it's like, man, is that you got a talented flow, like you're sounding good, but like
it's watered down.
Give me some better content. Yeah. Like it's just been done so many times, and the people who've done it well are pretty famous.
And that's the whole thing too. Is like it's easier as a fan to tap into music, like when it's authentic, like you were saying. Like, give me something that I can feel, and especially coming from like a local artist, because like you have to like. I feel like local artists always have to work 10 to 20 times harder than any famous rapper, because like, why listen to this when I could just turn on the radio and hear all these bangers? You know what I mean? So like, I feel like any local artist definitely has to like just put their heart and soul into every track they make, so you could get attention, you can get, and then you'll get the return on the love, and you'll make fans that way.
Definitely. But like, that's another reason I think Radio Boise is so important. So it's independent, non-corporate, listener-funded radio. So like, we don't take money from any corporations or have any interests like that.
That's awesome.
But it's just individual volunteers who make the playlists. And one of the founding principles is to support local music as much as possible.
That's awesome.
So like, that is very important. I think people tune into the station for that very reason.
Yeah.
I mean, you can hear Hotel California plays on like every radio station every like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Like you can hear that song for the 1 millionth time if you need to. But like, there's just so much more music out there, and like Radio Boise is kind of like the shamans that can show you that kind of music.
What I like about Radio Boise is it's not like top 40. So every DJ has their own playlist basically. So you can hear hip hop, or you can hear pop, or you can hear country, or you can hear whatever. I think that's really important.
Oh, totally.
Honestly,
just so much variety.
Pretty much every genre of music is covered on Radio Boise. And it's just like every 2 hours, the style of music's going to change. And like my wife happens to be the music director as well.
Nice.
And people can just send music to music@Radio Boise. She'll listen to it. They curate it so that you can have like a playlist that any DJ can pull from. That's just
sick. Submitted from the fans, right?
Submitted from the fans.
That's cool, man.
That's awesome.
And then they do top 10 plays, all the top 10 songs that are played in a week, and it gets posted in the Boise Weekly.
That's sick.
Damn.
But yeah, Treefort's coming up too, and Radio Boise is the sole media
There we go.
partner in Treefort.
When is the what are the dates?
I think it's the third week of September. I'm pretty sure that's right.
Because they had to cancel it last year.
It got canceled and postponed, but I asked the music director, and there will be the Treefort
Let's go.
Hip hop heard it here first.
Showcase happening.
Nice.
So we're gonna do a showcase near the main stage of just Idaho artists.
Damn, that's fucking sick, dude.
Yeah, it's been good. I think last year was Skilly.
Yeah.
We had Dedicated Servers, Ryan Camargo and D-Rock.
Severely Global.
Those guys are awesome. And then Distant Cousins.
Nice.
I think that was that last year. We'll see. I'm still trying to put together the lineup for this year. And obviously, that's the other thing about clean music. It has to be clean.
Right.
Like, how are you going to perform your tracks in general public
in front of kids
and everybody if you don't have any clean music?
Facts. That's something that every local artist should be looking into, right?
I learned that the hard way, man. We threw a show a couple years back, and we had a main headliner, and not only did he not have clean music, but he had his YouTube videos playing, and it was just women in bikinis, and it was an all ages show.
Oh,
and
no.
Yeah, my mom was pissed.
No, it's almost like any good English teacher will
She's
tell
the only
you.
one I care about.
Any good English teacher will tell you know your audience.
Definitely.
And I think that's important in rap music. Like, you can be as filthy as you want, and there's rappers influence people like Eminem, and they have that style where they just like, I want to be like that.
Yeah,
that's fine, and it's all good, but like, you got to be able to appeal to multiple audiences if you want to be successful.
The show was at the Civic Center, and it was all ages. So, and it was just like money and strippers, and I'm just like, dog, come on, bro.
Yeah, you know what you're doing, bro.
Know your audience, man. But I did want to ask you, so how did you come up with the name DJ Winkle?
My last name is Winkle.
Is it? Just straightforward?
Simple as that.
I like that.
Simple as that.
And then your show, is it Crush Corner?
Crush Corner.
Yeah,
so like that's ode to like all of like the Crush Groovin', like all of the original Bronx rappers.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it's been going well. I'm always looking. This is great too, to be able to find new artists. DJ Winkle on Facebook, or Crush Corner Radio Boise. We have our page. Always looking for new artists to be able to.
Yeah.
And this is what I say when I give them a message. Like, hey, I got this new track. Be like, I'll listen to it for radio play consideration.
Yeah.
Why I say that is I'm not going to promise you I'm going to play your record before I even heard it.
Exactly.
And I don't mean to let anybody down, and you try to give constructive criticism, but some of the things we talked about, like, be authentic, like play stuff or rap about stuff that you've lived. That's true. Stuff that can inspire somebody. We did a thing called the Couch Surfer series. So I don't know if you've ever seen like NPR Tiny Desk.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. And I got one of those last year, and it was Zero, Bats, Andyo, Madison Proof, and Natalie Grace. And the whole topic was partnering with the Suicide Prevention Hotline. And it was about overcoming adversity in your life. When you've been depressed, when you've been having hard times, and overcoming that. And so I gave them kind of a speech of like what I've been through and been really depressed, and like how music helped me. And these kids just turned up. Like, their performances were just so passionate, and like there wasn't a dry eye in the room at the end of it.
Dang,
so like,
that's tough.
Is there any footage online?
There is, yeah. If you go to Radio Boise's YouTube page, or Couch Surfer Radio Boise.
Okay. I definitely will link all that in the description.
No, that's dope. Yeah, no, that was a powerful night, and I think that kind of authenticity, and when you're paying homage to the people who have gone before and kind of their skills, but also something that people can feel, Definitely. I know you want to separate yourself, and I'm the baddest, and we're tearing down other people. That makes me think about rap battles too. I don't know how do you guys feel about rap battles?
I'm pretty like invested with it, just because we have affiliates who are rap battlers. I think it's dope, honestly.
They're hella entertaining.
I like that they could go personal and take shots, and then when it's over, they can dap each other up and
show love to each other.
There was a few battles that it got a little too far, but I think it's cool that there's rap battle in Idaho.
No, there's the Rap Battle League. I know
there's
that.
Ontario. Can't remember the name of it, but there's a league out in Ontario too.
Yeah.
Shout out Charlie Aztec. He's a part of that.
Oh yeah, he makes good music.
Psycho Flores.
Psycho's great. Dizzle, I believe. Does
Shout out Dizzle.
Shout out Dizzle.
Dang.
But yeah,
Robbie. Shout out.
Yeah.
Dirty Shirt.
Dirty Shirt. He's great. But no, I like it. I get it's a format. I think it's funny when there's just like beef that gets started to kind of fire up each other's audiences. I imagine everybody saw the Mill Bill beef that just happened. And his response, it's silly. It really is silly. And like,
it's insane, man.
I listened to one of his pieces he had, and he's like, I'm not going to respond because my music is about positive things. And like, you guys just getting fired up, taking shots at people on the internet when you'd never say this in real life is dumb. But we did something pretty cool for our Radioathon 2 years ago. We challenged people to do a compliment battle. So instead of dissing them, you got to say as nice things as you can about them. And that was our largest fund drive. People did.
That's sick, man.
People did awesome.
That's amazing.
I like your face.
Man, your mom makes the best food every time I come over. She feeds us. It's so rad.
Look at you with your handsome face and your perfect hair.
Can't stand it. That's
good.
Dope, though. That's dope,
no, and
man.
it's good. So, like, I get it. There's so many different aspects to hip hop music.
Yeah.
You know, there's from writing, from producing beats to, doing shows to mentoring, helping people out. There's so many different aspects, rap battles, that you can just find a piece, you know, where you wanna fit in.
What would you say your favorite genre of music is?
That's tough because my Bangers and Mashup show is just multiple genres of music at the same time. So I like something that's really gripping you with big beats. Obviously, I like trap music. I like reggae music. I like electronic music. Some of that cloud rap that's coming out is really good. I don't know if you know who Strawberry is and Coleman. They're really good with that kind of cloud vibe where like there's weird effects that kind of come in and out. It almost sounds like an old-timey radio.
Interesting.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about making a Spotify playlist?
Like I could.
Your vibes?
I could, yeah.
That'd be dope, man.
Yeah, I got a ton of music. I mean, I put in like 5 hours every week for the last 4 years or more putting these together. But yeah, I could. I'm not the biggest Spotify fan. The main reason is like I can't edit it. So if somebody sends me a YouTube link or a SoundCloud link, I can edit that music. Yeah. But Spotify, I can't. So I could. Sure. Speaking of, I think compilations in the local scene are super dope. Did you know about the 8 Days compilation that came out?
Yeah. Shout out to
that
Chop
was
Culture
sick.
And all them.
Yeah, it was like Yeezy, AC, Goodfella, Efne Alate, Julian. Who else was on there? Rolly, D-Rock, Genius. And that he put together just a combination like everybody roll through. We're gonna put this skit together, and then had like it
was kind of like the Dreamville Revenge of the Dreamers 3. I don't know if you listened to that, but
I'm not familiar.
They locked in a studio spot, and I think they had like a week. So they had this huge area, and there was 4 studios. J. Cole had his own studio, and they sent out invitations to artists. And if you got an invitation, you can go. But it's artists, beat producers, engineers, and they created Revenge of the Dreamers 3, and it was. What was dope about it is a lot of those artists got their first Grammy nomination because of that invitation, basically. So artists who would have never went to the Grammys, like Smino and Buddy, they were able to go to the Grammys off of their features. And they had songs that were like 15 minutes long, and they had to cut it down and take up, like, they had to choose the best verses. So when all that was going on, the 8 Days compilation came out, and it's amazing that they were able to get inspired and create something of their own.
Well, yeah, if you can find something that works in a different scene, that's a good idea. Like, what did Banksy say? All good art is stolen. So, like, that's totally true, because even if you try to replicate something, it's not going to be the same.
We did the same thing, Wave Cartel. I had all my guys, we sat down and watched, because there's a documentary. They filmed the whole entire process of the Revenge of the Dreamers 3, and we all got motivated as fuck, and we were just like, we recorded song after song after song, these massive features, but then we realized, like, not everyone wants to hear someone or a song that has 5 different people on it. And then the 8 Days came out, and I just thought it was dope to see like-minded, how we got inspired off of the same media. You know what I'm saying? It was dope. It was dope.
No, there's definitely those styles that come through. Like trap music definitely kind of influenced it. And then I think kind of
was there any other compilations that came out?
Yeah, there was the COT compilation that was with Ed Abel. It was mostly just Boise rappers, and it was funny because he had it finished and then his computer crashed, and then so he had to like recover it.
That sucks.
But it came out, and that was super good. And then I guess Skilly's new album is kind of like that. What is it? Ratchet Pack, yeah. Yeah, that's got a lot of features on it. There's probably more. I don't know all the rappers yet. I got a good chunk, but I don't know all of them.
Yeah, same. I thought I was tapped in. There's a lot of artists that you mentioned.
There's a lot. I could go even more, but North Idaho. I don't know any rappers from North Idaho really. Maybe there is some.
There definitely is.
There is, but I haven't. Eastern. Oh, and man, the Eastern Idaho scene for a while, I thought that was better than West in like Boise, Nampa area. Like just their styles, how they were working together, how much content they were releasing, the shows they were doing. Like there were rappers from Boise who were driving to Eastern Idaho to do shows because the scene's better.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I hope it opens back up, man. I talk to LALO about this all the time, and it's not like I like to preach unity, but even if not all artists can get along, I want to see every artist strive and prosper. And you know, if we could use our platform to try to elevate that, we definitely will. We used to have a segment called Yes No Potential where we would just play music that we found, and we ended up getting in trouble because copyright and stuff.
Oh, sure.
YouTube is shutting us down.
We have it on our Patreon now if you guys want to become members, and it's just not necessarily like rating it, but it's just a segment where we can just play music and break it down and different ears. I had my beat producer on, Hooligan, and he was able to like critique the beat and talk about the structure of the hi-hats. And
yeah, that was dope when Hooligan was on doing that.
I'm excited to see things open back up, but I'm also excited to just see where we can go within the next year or two.
Yeah, I'd say that. I'd say it just be open.
Because I feel like it kind of slowed down a little bit because it had to.
A little bit, yeah. I was kind of waiting for a bunch of COVID-themed songs coming out, and there's been some. I think my number one is Skilly Waves, Quarantine Tings. If you haven't heard that one, man, that song thumps. But no, I think like people being open to mentoring, people being open to not somebody being adversarial against you, being open to criticism,
definitely,
being open to having no said to you, you know, right. And then just being open to kind of learning your craft, you know, and learning what works for you, and that, you know, I think that'll help a lot of rappers, and that's easy for me to say because I don't make hip hop music, but I have listened to so much of it. Yeah, I know more about Idaho hip hop than I do any other national hip hop or anything else.
Right?
Do you have a top 5?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, I could probably do it. Doesn't have to be in a particular order, does it?
No, definitely.
Just put you in the hot seat, like, yes, it does.
No, I like it. I'll put Oso Negro number 1. Or not number 1. As one.
Gotcha.
He's an old school cat. He lived in Ontario, but he was so good at putting shows together, mentoring people, giving them their first show. He's got like a degree in biological engineering. He's crazy smart. He's very crafty. His wordplay is amazing. He does collaborations with people all over the country. Dang. So he's kind of one of the grandfathers of hip hop in the scene. Ryan Camargo, probably in the whole Severely Global crew. He's great. I mean, if I had to play one hip hop song for somebody to like kind of understand the local scene, it'd be Ryan Camargo's Macbeth. Man, that song slaps so hard. And just the pacing and the beat dropping out.
So dope.
That's super good. I'll put Skilly up there. I'll put Ilza Kyle.
Yeah, he's dope too.
Ilza Kyle's really good. And he's doing great. He's touring, doing a lot of things well.
He's making a lot of noise.
He is. Yeah. And I really like his style and his message and helping other people out.
I didn't know it was pronounced Zakyle. I thought it was Ezekiel.
I think it's Zakyle.
Is it?
I could be wrong. If he listens and wants to, tell me I'm wrong, that's totally fine. Madison is incredible. Madison Proof. I mean, holy cow. She was a traditional church singer and then went to hip hop music. It's just fantastic. So hard. This is more than 5. Clev speech, just such an amazing voice.
Going, bro.
Yeah,
the whole
an artist you need to get tapped into with is Tony Spitz. If you're like hip hop, boom bap style, he just spits and freestyles off the top of his mind.
Is it Idaho music or no?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Tony Spitz.
It's Tony Spitz.
Tony Spitz. Psalm. So before Psalm became started doing a different style of music, he used to go by Sketchy Waves.
Yeah.
And him and Tony Spitz and Kiki Romero, they were all a part of a rap group.
The Masterminds
Entertainment.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Tony Spitz is fire.
Yeah, okay. Tony's super dope, bro. Yeah. No biased opinion because he's my brother, but
he's his brother too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
like
Tony's
real life.
But Tony's super dope, bro. I've always been the biggest fan of that dude because he's just talent off the charts. So they have like throwback ciphers on YouTube somewhere. You could find them with Tony, Kiki, Sketchy Ways, and all the whole Masterminds crew. But they're dope.
Do you guys know who the first recognized rapper in the history of the state of Idaho is?
Who's that?
Any guesses? No. Guy's name is MC Shake.
MC Shake?
MC Shake.
MC Shake?
Wow. No, like you have a shake.
MC Shake.
Shaky.
Yeah.
Recognized as in...
Todd Dunnigan, who's made a lot of productions in town, produced his album. He had a song, or I'm trying to remember the name of the album, but he used the Biggie Smalls beat that was the Evett Brothers before Biggie did, and he just rapped about like 2C, and he even had another son who he rapped with, but this was like in like 91.
Okay.
Like 1990. He's kind of the first. And then there's a lot of old cats like Customary and Campfire Collective. They were really big in the scene in like the early 90s. But there wasn't a lot. And kind of what I think is like indie rock has dominated the music scene, at least in like Boise and the surrounding areas for so long. Like biggest band to ever come out of Idaho in modern times is like Built to Spill, in my opinion. And they're birthed so many different bands. So like there wasn't a lot of room for hip hop because it was like an indie rock dominated scene.
Right.
And then you start seeing venues like the Shredder. If anybody had their first hip hop show was probably in Boise, was probably at the Shredder. And then now they're starting to get some more appeal and getting some more, better slots. And I think people are finally taking it for real. Like when I told people, I was like, oh yeah, I have a radio show that plays nothing but Idaho made hip hop. Like,
there's hip hop in Idaho.
There's rappers in Idaho.
What do you mean? So annoying, man.
No, but it's true, and like it's,
I get it, but just being in the game for so long, man, I don't know. Just don't count us out. That's all I can say.
To
the people who don't think Idaho has hip hop.
I just don't think it's been exposed yet, and like Boise's one of the number one growth places in the nation right now.
Yes, definitely.
In this whole area,
it's only a matter of time, in my perspective, from being in the industry. Like a lot of my friends who are in the industry, who are in film or in fashion, they all moved out to California. But the thing is there's still that bridge. So when stuff starts opening up again, we're going to start throwing shows and doing tours and stuff. But there's artists who are from Eagle, Idaho, who manage or who have some ties to like the famous Marshmello, the DJ, or Icy Narco, or there's a bunch of other artists. I just can't think of it, but it's there. If you really search for it, it's there. There's this other artist. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he made a video on Instagram, and then he got recognized by Lil Xan, and he got recognized by Lil Mosey, and he just dropped a video. My buddy Nikki was showing me, but there's artists out here in Idaho who are tapped in with Idaho, and then when they make it out, they don't like to recognize Idaho. And it's frustrating.
Well, they don't throw the love back.
Yeah, I can see it's frustrating.
It's frustrating.
But if you look at any major metropolitan area in the United States, it has a solid hip hop scene. All of them do, even Salt Lake. So like, it's gonna happen in Idaho. And if I was a rapper, or at least why I like doing the show, is that's exciting. That means
for sure.
It's like Idaho rap's just starting to go through puberty. Yes, and so like you have
a little late too, but yes.
Yeah, so like you have the opportunity now to craft something that's going to be permanent.
Yeah.
So like I know a lot of people are giving up, or they're just recording something late at night and then throwing it directly on YouTube without any editing. They're like, this is the next huge hit, and it's like, oh, it could be, but like take some time,
put some love into it,
and you can be one of the people who influences something that's permanent.
Yeah.
In Idaho. I think that's really exciting.
Definitely. We're going through the journey right now. Everything that we're doing right now is going to be written in history. And I 100% believe that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Even this podcast alone, all the artists that you've name dropped, it's going to just build a new relationship, and I'm going to want to reach out to them and use my platform for them. And it's only a matter of time, man, before we all just come together and just do something insane.
I would love to hear from more artists, and like we'll be trading content. And what I really like is when somebody hits me up, it's not just for their music. They're like, yo, like these artists are great that aren't even themselves. And I think that type of humility is necessary in the scene right now, is instead of just blazing it on you, spotlight on me, be like, look, these are the people who are doing awesome. And
right.
That's what I like about it too, is having that humble aspect.
In my opinion, I feel like Idaho, as far as like hip hop goes, like it's on the cusp of like breakout. I feel like it's almost there. Like within the next 5, something's gonna pop off and be huge. Like that's what I feel internally. I don't know. It's something about like the energy of being here and like meeting you and like meeting other artists around the valley. Like I feel like it's right there. It's almost there.
It is. And I think, again, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but I think this is the opportunity for people to make quality content. Like, so my wife, she's the music director, and she's like, if I hear a hip hop song where the guy takes 30 seconds to start and he's just, okay, here we go. And then the first thing is a derogatory term. She's like, nope. And just it doesn't even have a chance. So, really focusing on what you've lived. If you read a lot, I mean, you look at like KRS-One. Like knowledge is important, and so like take some time reading books. Looking into philosophy, like looking in how to live a good life.
Right.
Then I think you're ready to share some of that stuff. If you don't even know who you are or what you're about, and you're gonna be making music, like, why do I want to listen to
Preach,
this?
bro. That's big time facts.
You guys need to play this back and listen to what he just said, because that honestly is the truth. You can be a fad and a trend, but that's all that it is. It's gonna die out eventually, and then you're gonna have to try to ride the next wave and the next wave and try to keep reinventing yourself. Like, it's gonna eventually die out.
Well, I think I get it in like the like and click culture that we're in right now, that people just want validation. You're feeling down, you didn't have a good day, you take a picture of something, you get 50 likes, it makes you feel good, right?
Yes.
You're like, I'm validated by those around me, and every human wants that. So if you're getting into music for other people's validation too, I mean, that's okay. I mean, that's fine. That means you're trying to make people happy or share something.
Yeah.
But if you haven't honed in or aren't comfortable with yourself, like I'll even go far enough, like if you don't even love yourself, then I think that's going to reflect in your music.
It's a slippery slope to just continue to have that dopamine be relied on other people. You're going to continue chasing it.
Yeah.
You have to eventually, from my personal experience, I used to be the artist on Facebook who every day I have to post something. I don't know why, but it was the likes and the interaction. But it got to a point where I grew up and I just realized like there's a post that doesn't do good and I feel less of myself. And I just realized like I can't be giving people that much energy, because it's gonna keep fluctuating, and then you're just gonna keep feeling like, should I keep doing this? And then you're going to drop something and it gets 100 likes and you're like, oh yeah, I should keep doing this.
I think you guys did something smart with your Surface Wave collective, is you're getting people together to be able to, form a community, to be able to showcase their talent, to be able to grow together.
Yeah.
So it's not just the individual, it's the community. So that aspect, it's not about the validation you get from everybody else.
Sure.
I think it's more about the validation that you guys get. Do you like your music?
Yeah.
Do you like what you put out? It's kind of like, there's been books written that are great, that are amazing information. If nobody reads it, the author still has satisfaction.
Because he did that.
He created it.
Yeah.
And so if you're looking at more of the internal dialogue and the internal creation, are you happy with what you're making? Do you think it has purpose? Then everything else that happens to it, we go back to that stoicism I was talking about. Everything else that happens to it is kind of out of your control. And so don't worry about it.
Me and my artists have gone through this. We've had to take songs down because it just didn't do good. But at the end of the day, we don't feel defeated by it. And we are a collective. We are our own A&Rs. We are our own management team. We're our own marketing team. So we all listen to a song before it comes out. We all give our input. And if you, it's best to be honest, because our name is now attached to it. So we're not going to put out something that we 100% don't believe in.
Oh, totally.
So even the video editor, he has a say in the song. The beat producer has a say in the song, and it's a humbling experience. And doing this podcast is a humbling experience too, because it's like, as an artist, you think you know everything or you know everyone because of your circle, but then to take a step out and just see like there's artists 30 minutes away, an hour away, 3 hours away. It just makes you realize how not small you are, but it takes that ego, that power trip out of it to see how big we are in this fishbowl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a weird dichotomy because hip hop's been built on pride, but my personal philosophy is pride's a dangerous ass thing. That like you're either gonna get checked at some point, you know, in one way or another.
For sure.
So like being humble, but also having self-love and like riding that line is important. But yeah, man, I mean, we can all wrap this back to what we very started with. Like, I'm just here to be able to give a platform to artists where usually breaking into like an FM station, like I think radio is still different than like internet radio and YouTube and that stuff. And being able, I'm honored to have that platform to be able to play artist music on the air, and like, you know, people listening to their tracks, driving down the street, freaking out in their car, hearing their music on the radio.
It's amazing, man. It's a great feeling.
It's important, and that's the main reason I do it.
On a smaller scale, when we did Yes No Potential, we had the artists, like, because we would play, so you know when you're on Instagram or Facebook and you just see people spamming their music, you're probably not going to ever see this, or I'm an up-and-coming 13-year-old rap, whatever. That's what the segment was based upon. So it was meant to be kind of comical, but we ended up finding a lot of great music, and then when we put it on our show, they found out and they felt amazing. Like, they just felt so happy, and they reposted it on their stories, and it was just, I don't know, it's just such a great feeling. Hold on. That's me or not. But yeah.
Well, I think that's a good way to work outside of the platform, right? Because instead of Facebook controlling the algorithms and Facebook saying what's cool and what's trending, you're part of it, and you're part of helping people build their brand, their style, and showcasing that for people. And, you know, there's some privilege and there's some honor there. But yeah, I'm just happy to do it. I'm always looking for more Idaho-made music. And, you know, being able to play it on air, help with shows, help promote any way I can. And the funny thing is, I haven't made any money off of this.
Same.
Like, I don't do it for money at all. Like, we volunteer at Radio Boise.
Yeah.
You know, I've gotten DJ gigs because they've known me from Radio Boise. But even if somebody like sees me on the street, they're like, "Hey, this guy's a rad DJ." I'm just like, you know, I don't need that. I don't want that. You know, it's again, I'm really trying to not be prideful or have a lot of.
I dabbled in radio for a little bit, and I worked for Wild 101, and it wasn't corporate owned, but it was still, they tried to be corporate.
That structure, that corporate structure.
It was so just like, your social media can't have this or that. You can't have no, and it was such a bad environment for me personally, because I'm a creative and I don't like to be boxed in. But I did it for a whole year of just, this is your ad reads. You have to say it at least this many times in your 6-hour show. And it was just, I got to a point where I just felt just defeated in a way. It was weird, man, because I wanted it. I wanted it so bad. I did the street team. I filled the totes with candy. I washed the vans. I took the vans to get oil. I did everything that I thought I needed to do. And then I finally got to that point, and it was just, I didn't feel happy or creative at all. That's
the cool thing about Radio Boise is once you have your show, what you do in that show, as in like FCC guidelines, you can't play more than one artist 3 times. Only three songs is the max. There's no calls to action. So like, you can't say, come buy this car, you know, come down and get your car washed or any of this. You can't do it. It's a violation. But the station gives you complete creative control.
That's awesome.
That's sweet.
So as it should be.
Well, that's how freeform radio used to be. That's how radio stations were in the 70s. a DJ would have a choice to be able to play the music that's meaningful to them instead of just automated, curated, here's what you're playing. Because in my opinion, I'm not trying to talk trash about radio stations other than Radio Boise.
Definitely.
But they're there to sell ads.
Yes, that's where the money comes from.
That's where the money comes from. The music is secondary. The music is filler between ads.
Yeah. That's so true.
No, for sure.
That was like the craziest thing too. Like when you used to work for Wild 101, like I've been to the studio a few times in there with you, and like I always thought like you chose what tracks to play, and you're like, no, that's not how it works here.
Yeah, I didn't sign like a non-compete or anything, so I could talk about it freely. I mean, like I said, it was a great opportunity, but the show was programmed 24 hours prior. You had no say in what. I mean, you had 15 seconds, 30 seconds tops before the song drops to talk. It wasn't
so
long form conversation.
That's funny. No, we can open it up. Like we can. There's no requirements like that whatsoever. And like it's a different structure though. Like because
it's just a full on machine.
Yeah, you receive a paycheck. When you do a show at that place. Radio Boise, you don't. So like the people who are there, like I guess we talked about this earlier. Like DJs should be paid, and it's like I guess it depends on what you're doing. Because I don't even want a paycheck from Radio Boise. Because it is an honor to be able to have access to free-form radio. It's something that doesn't really exist very often in America. So, I can't say enough about it. I don't know. Can I do a little plug about our fund drive?
Yeah, do it, man.
Definitely.
Okay, so starting this coming Wednesday is our Radioathon. And so we receive most of our donations through listeners. We run on like $35 an hour is how we run the entire station. We have over, I think, 300 volunteers and like 6 paid staff.
That's insane.
So all of it, people who are there, they love it because they understand what it means. This is artists in the area, rappers or any other genre who get their music heard. We do independent public affairs. We do Tree Fort. We do so much for the community. And so we ask people to give back. It's 258-2072 is the number, or radioboise.org. And I'm hoping that some rappers show up and some fans show up to be able to help us out because, it's something we have to pay for ourselves. We don't have to be like these other stations. And we get this freedom, but it costs. Costs money. So I'm not too worried about it. Every year we do well, and like I say, like we get improvements. Like the reason we're on 2 frequencies now is because of these fund drives. So we're growing.
We definitely will have the links to all that. I think that's dope. Like you're saying, it's all for the love of the craft, and you don't expect a paycheck from it. I think that creates the best content, and you have the most pride.
Right. Well, and it's also like volunteering. Like I would recommend anybody who has free time, like maybe put down the video games and the YouTube for a little bit.
For sure.
And find something to volunteer for.
Definitely. Give back to the community.
It's really huge. Like the Radio Boise and the Suicide Prevention Hotline, like you know that you're not the most important person in the world. And especially if your life's going okay. Like I always do this, like when you wake up every morning, like do your legs work? Can you see?
Yeah.
Do your hands work? Is there food in your fridge? Do you have a car? Is there gas in your car? Do you have a bank account? Is there any amount of money in the bank account? If those things are yes, you're doing better than like 75% of the people on the planet.
Facts. That's beautiful to hear, man. Because last week's episode, we talked about mental health pretty in depth about anxiety and depression. And if you guys missed that episode, I recommend watching that. But that's a great way to see life.
Well, it is. And it's just having a bunch of gratitude. And if these things are true in your life, then I think volunteering is very, very important.
Definitely.
Because it can be something like walking dogs. It doesn't have to be something super intense. There's all type of organizations that are doing really good work that need people. And you're not free labor. You're not being abused. They're actually really nice to you. And especially if you're lonely. Like if you don't have any friends or people that you talk to, or you're coming out of the pandemic, you haven't seen anybody, I would highly recommend volunteering. There's so many things you can do out there, and like your time makes a huge difference, and like you're in your community, you know.
Volunteering is so much fun, dude. Like I back in high school, we had teamed up with Habitat for Humanity, which builds homes for people in need. Yeah. And in my construction class, we had built 2 Habitat for Humanity homes, which was super cool to be able to give back to people who really needed somewhere to live, right? And the one family we had built for was a vet who had diabetes, and he was in a wheelchair bound. And it's like we built all these extra like ramps and like a pulley system to help him shower and stuff. So like doing stuff like that was so cool to me. And then like in the long run, I gave back because my family received the very first Habitat house in Canyon County.
Oh wow!
So it was like
crazy,
full circle to be able to give back and build houses for other people, so they could have a home and a place to call.
Yeah,
home,
like you'll
basically.
find you actually probably get more out of it than the work you do or the person that you're helping.
100%.
So I believe in it. And another cool thing with Radio Boise is if anyone is a nonprofit, then you get absolutely zero cost underwriting, or we don't call them commercials, but that's what they are. Mm-hmm. So if you are associated with a nonprofit, if you have an event coming up, if you do something for your community, no charge underwriting at the radio station. So like we try to be partner with as many nonprofits as possible. So it's just been great, man. Like I came out of my high school. I kind of went to an elite high school, and all my friends did really well after graduating. I feel like I didn't, and so I got super depressed. And then after getting out of that depression, found music, and then found this community, found the artists, found the art makers, found the musicians, found the DJs. Mm-hmm. They became my friends. I lived downtown Boise for like 5 years. And you could just walk down the street and be like, hey, Winkle, and like, yo, and be like, hey, thanks for playing my song. And like, finding your community and your tribe can really happen through volunteering.
Yeah. For sure.
And finding an organization you care about.
I always say this, but I feel like I always say the universe has your path or whatever you believe in a higher power. But I feel like looking back now, you can say you appreciate that sort of depressive state because it helped you get to where you're at today. Oh,
for sure. Yeah. Like, and if you went to high school and you married your high school sweetheart and the only people you hang out with are the people from high school, that's fine, man. But like, there's a whole world of people out there. And like when I'm on the hotline and there's people who are at their lowest of the low and thinking about, committing or completing suicide, having them kind of think of like, this can be temporary, like open yourself up. One thing I really like telling people is absolute words. You familiar with this? So words like can't, never, always, forever. Okay. Like those type of words, in my opinion, close doors for people in their lives.
Definitely.
So like, you haven't made that hit record yet.
Doesn't mean you won't.
Mm-hmm. But the moment you say, man, I'm never going to make a good record, guess what?
Yeah, you're manifesting.
You just manifest. You probably won't. So like
exactly.
Your language and especially how you speak to yourself internally. I have something I put over the mirror, a tag over the mirror that's for my wife, and it says, talk to yourself nice. Talk to yourself nice. Like, and she's like, this isn't even grammatically correct. And I was like, I know. But it's important. It is very important.
Definitely.
To not beat yourself up. To be kind. The way you want to talk to your best friend is the way you should be talking to yourself up here. And once you start practicing that, you'll see big changes in your life.
It's easy to subconsciously think about everything you need to change and what you're lacking in. And I learned this through business. Like, I'm not going to put them on blast, but they were telling me you have to wake up and look in the mirror and tell yourself 5 things that you like about yourself.
Yeah.
And then that will help you have a better attitude and a better personality to the world. And me and my girl, we implement that every day. We have to tell ourselves just as a reminder, because there's so much going on in the world. We have a 4-year-old son. She's working from home, and it's just so much, like, life keeps going on. So just taking that 10 seconds out of the day and just say, like, you know what, you do look good. You know what, you do this. And because if not,
I appreciate you for
it's that. Just kind of like your subconscious mind will just be like, oh, you didn't finish that file last night. You didn't email this last night. You didn't finish this last night. But then just taking a step back and just be like, yo, chill out, man. Because my mind, the way it works, it would just constantly run.
I feel that, bro. It's like having to get control of your thoughts and what's going on. Like, what are those called? Like affirmations, right? When you're telling yourself good things. For sure, it's super important. Like, wake up in the morning every morning and say, who's that boy in the mirror right there looking handsome?
Complimental rap battle.
Yeah, with
like
your
face.
with yourself. But
you're so handsome. Smile.
No, I get that. Like, you can't be happy every day all the time.
No, for sure.
And you're going to get frustrated. But, like, that leads me more back to, like, Stoicism I was talking about. Like, blaming the world or blaming other people or why this happened is somebody else's fault. You know, not taking ownership over your own actions too. Like if you mess up and you were supposed to do all these emails and you ended up playing Call of Duty for 5 hours, that's on you, bro.
Yep.
Like that is on you.
100%.
But like, do you need to beat yourself up and get into a depression and make it so you can't move or function? Well, that probably isn't the best way to get those emails written.
No, for sure.
But no, it's just kind of, I don't know. My life philosophy, I'm Catholic, so I go to St. John's Cathedral, and that's important to me. Very important. I got my Padre Pio right here.
There we go.
If you guys don't know who this guy is, he's incredible. He's a mystic. He had like bilocation, could be in multiple places at the same time, could read souls. So he was able to read in the Book of God. Mm-hmm. Amazing guy. So I got, my faith, my volunteering, and just positive attitudes. Like instead of something like disabling you, what are you going to do?
Definitely.
Take a step back. Like you were saying this about like the scene or like making music. There's so many other people. Like the more times in your life you can just take a step back, not react out of anger or frustration. Just take a step back and be like, okay, what's the right move to do here?
Definitely.
I think that can work wonders in people's lives.
Not taking things personal has helped me out so much.
Yeah.
Not overthinking and not passing judgment on others or on myself has helped me tremendously, man.
You're making it, man.
You
guys are still young and you're figuring out some of the old tricks.
I think honestly becoming a father just helped me understand, because I love my son to death, but he brought a whole different side of me that I was just like, I never met this person before.
Yeah.
Internally. He tests me, but then he makes me feel the most love and compassion at the same time.
Facts, bro. Being a dad,
it's just like, how do you?
Is 100% a life changer.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing. I love being a dad so much because, it really does. It changes your mental all the way. It's like it's so cliche to say, because everyone like, oh, this and that, but it's true, really. Like,
yeah.
Who I was before I had my son and who I am now is two totally different dudes, and
definitely.
It's just like something like in a day. It was a change in a day.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, just like that.
I did. Have you ever heard of sensory deprivation tanks?
Yeah, I've been in those before. Did you trip?
I went yesterday. I go twice a year, so I make it a point where I get to a point in life where I have too many ideas. I have too many things I want to do. I'm too my emotions are too heightened, so I like to go to these tanks, and I just like to take an hour, and I can either think and figure out my next plan, or I can calm the chatter completely and just have an hour to myself. And it varies because I don't go in with the game plan. So when I went last time, it was me trying to figure out the next step, the next business move, the next this or that. And then when I went yesterday, there was no planning. It was just me telling myself, like, we're good, like, where you're at in life, you need to just calm your anxiety and just appreciate and take everything in. And honestly, it was such a great experience. Honestly.
No, that's good. Like meditation, like deep breathing exercises work for that too. There's something we use at the hotline too for people who are having anxiety. Like if you feel like you're having a panic attack, I can tell you guys what it is. It's pretty cool.
So, you should send us the number so we can put it in the description.
Oh yeah. We'll do the number and the link to the Idaho Suicide Prevention Hotline. But it's called the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding method. So what it is, you start with 5 things that you can see around you.
I do that too. That's crazy.
You do that? Yeah, it's really good. So you'd be like that cactus, water bottle, a picture, your watch, your phone, a camera, and then like 4 things you can hear around you, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 you can taste, and then 1 thing you like about yourself. And I've seen people who have been at a 10 anxiety where like they can barely even talk.
That's crazy.
To go to like a 4 or 3.
Yeah, I learned that off of social media. It's crazy what you can see off of memes and stuff. Like,
oh no, it works. And my therapist told me something really smart. Anxiety a lot lives in the past and the future. So the whole idea of that exercise, if you can be grounded where you are and focused on that, then the past traumas or future things you're worried about won't have as much control over you.
Definitely. There's something that I heard is just like if you focus on the past, that triggers depression, and if you focus on the future too much, that triggers the anxiety. Just be present.
Sure.
Focus on today.
But knowing your triggers is really important too.
Yeah, for sure.
So instead of like getting at that like 8, 9, or 10 with your anxiety, be like, whoa, my anxiety is at like a 4 or 5 right now. Now's a good time to do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or whatever works for you.
Do a little reset and come back.
I do that at work because I have a 9 to 5 in the warehouse. When I get to like, it's kind of like tunnel vision in a way where I'm just hyper aware of everything. Mm-hmm. So I do that where what I can see, touch, smell, hear, and then it definitely does help from just 100%.
It's good, man. Like I'm not the most physically healthy guy, but like my mental health, I try to work on that daily too. And I think people don't think of it that way. Like especially in Idaho, the whole kind of style has been like boots up, I'll drag myself up. I don't need to tell anybody that I'm hurting because that's for soft people.
Yeah. I fucking hate that so much.
It's so annoying, man.
Because like I work in the construction field, like that's what it is, bro. It's always like boom, boom. You're not man enough. You're not tough enough. This and like, bro, like, but that's not even the case because like everybody wants to be dudes. Like everyone just wants to be treated correctly and right. You know what I mean? Like
definitely. Just
because like I left here and I don't want to be a part of that doesn't mean I'm not man enough.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like so you can't look down on somebody because of that. Like, and I have like some journeymen I've worked for before have been like, well, you're lucky I'm so nice to you. My journeyman used to punch me in the fucking face every day. He used to drown me in the toilet. Like, but like we don't have to do that. Like why do you want to continue that trend? Because really, like you're killing the trade. No apprentice wants to come and work for you when you're an asshole,
right?
Yeah. But they don't. They just like are so stuck in that mentality. Like and like it's frustrating to be a part of that because like I just want nothing to do with it.
Do you know what a good indicator that is of people who have that type of mentality is they're projecting. So that person's probably really hurt.
Yeah, 100%.
So they're probably, very, I don't know, reliving trauma, having trauma.
Hurt people. Man.
Yes. And
for sure.
That's why they act that way towards you.
Mask.
But I think we need to give people a break sometimes. Like, I like to think about how complicated our society really is. Like even 50 years ago, 40, 60 years ago, like you could be on a farm, work your farm all day, go once a week to get groceries, have your kids, live that life. That was pretty standard for a lot of people in the United States.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now it's you got to have 1 million appointments, you got to have all these things to do, you got to manage your bank, you got to manage your investments,
right.
And like the amount of pressure in general that is on an average human being, like no joke, that's why people break.
Yeah.
And like it's understandable.
And then to intertwine social media with the younger generation, like
right.
that acceptance and feeling loved based off of likes and comments. It's social media. I feel like there's going to be a study on it in 10 years where there's like a spike in depression because of social media.
Sure.
It'll be in the history books.
I honestly think so, man.
Well, just the images that people are projected, like what leads a good life? Like what does it mean to have a successful life?
Yeah.
I imagine some people would say $1 million in your bank account, nice cars, beautiful partner, being set. Like that's it. And like, man,
there's some studies that say money does buy happiness to a certain amount. Once you pass like the 200,000 mark a year, you stop being happy. Once you are able to like not have to worry about gas and worry about, X amount or X items, like that's happiness. But then you can pass that threshold and it doesn't necessarily make you happy no more.
Well, sure. And I think if you can eliminate distractions and things in your life that you don't need, like if you could live a simple life, like you're a guy who's just out on his own, self-sustained for $20,000 a year and you just have small responsibilities. I was in Honduras, right? So like my sister, she worked at an orphanage in Honduras for 6 years. She was responsible for 6 teenage girls. She was their legal guardian. And Honduras was like the murder capital of the world at that time. Wow. And so I went down there to like a little village to visit, and there's kids running around, no shoes, playing soccer, staying at this ranch who are orphans who don't know their parents. Mm-hmm. And they were 10 times happier than I see most children in the United States. So I personally think happiness isn't really a feeling, it's a byproduct of joy. So how much joy you have in your life, how full your heart is, that's where the happiness comes from. You're chasing a byproduct of a feeling. If you can find joy meaning in your life of purpose. Everybody wants to have a purpose.
Yeah.
If you can find that, then happiness is the byproduct. People are chasing something that doesn't really exist. You have to create it.
Definitely.
In your own life.
So we are going to be wrapping it up on that note, but I definitely would like to have you back in on another episode.
DJ Winkle out here spitting facts, bro.
Our camera battery unfortunately died.
No, we covered a lot of good stuff, but I appreciate you guys having me.
Awesome.
Crush Corner, Radio Boise, 10 p.m. Sundays. I'd love to hear as much music as possible from artists. We're doing our fundraiser starting this Wednesday, which is what? Is that the 14th, 15th?
I think it's the 14th.
14th, and that's going for 2 weeks. So I'd love to see some people show up to support the Idaho hip-hop music, Idaho Suicide Prevention. If you or know somebody in crisis, I would recommend calling them. You don't have to be suicidal, but if you just need to get some stuff off your chest before you harm yourself or others, I highly recommend calling them.
Definitely. Like I said, we'll have all the links to the pledge and to the suicide prevention and to your show. And I really appreciate you, like I said, just using your platform to try to shed light on not even just music, like it's suicide prevention and all these things that are kind of hard to talk about. But I like that that's your narrative. That's how people are going to talk about you, is this is what you have done to the community. And I think that's amazing.
No, I mean, like, I don't know. I like being able to meet people like you guys. I mean, I would have never met you guys if I wouldn't have this radio show.
Exactly.
That's more valuable than money could have been. And just sharing good vibes with people, man.
Definitely.
Like,
yes, sir.
Life's too short to have hate in your heart. So just let it go.
Definitely.
And enjoy some good music.
Yeah, let's go, baby.
DJ Winkle, this is episode 26, Surface Wave Podcast. You can follow me on Instagram at KRAY001.
You can follow me at lalo.cervantes_.
And we got our producer, Nate. You can follow him on Instagram at DefPunk. All right, we appreciate y'all. Appreciate everyone who's made it this far. We'll see you guys next Monday.
Peace.